Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going over a very interesting project that I was honestly not aware of until very recently. Thankfully, Austin actually made me aware of this project, and Austin will be joining us today to share some very important information on this project. This project being Terra, also has the token Luna. So, Austin, welcome back to the channel as always, and thank you for joining me again here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Logan. And I'm surprised you don't know about Luna. I mean, thing broke into the top 10 cryptocurrencies. Come on, man. Get with the times.
I got with the times.
Yeah. So Luna is a really interesting project, and it's been on my radar for a very long time. I actually did make a small investment into it, or a minuscule, whatever you want to call it, a small investment into it a very, very long time ago. I mean, within, the past 2 years, when it was, a rather small market cap coin, and I actually ended up getting rid of it. I know, horrible decision by me, but the thing ended up making waves, and it actually sits currently, I believe, in the top 10 cryptocurrencies, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, right now, cap of around $33 billion. So that is quite amazing to me. I mean, I was looking at this thing when it was at like $2, and now it's sitting at $100. It's 94 bucks. So that move by itself is just really, really incredible, and provided some great opportunity. And hopefully today, we can get into maybe why we saw price action move that way, and what is going on in the whole Terra Luna ecosystem that could make this an attractive investment. So Logan, I don't know if you want to expand on some things. We can briefly go over kind of how the protocol works. There's like so much to this protocol that it's like almost overwhelming. And I definitely encourage people to go read the white paper, go to their website, read the Terra docs, the Terra documents as they call them, really go through everything they have, because this world this ecosystem that they built is so overwhelming. And if you're new to the project, and you're considering not go and try to absorb some of the information that they provide us.
Absolutely. So, Austin, you did mention they had a $33 billion market cap. Where does that place them in the top 10 cryptos?
Yeah, they're number 8.
Number 8. Awesome.
They're number 8. Yeah. They actually just surpassed Cardano and Avalanche. So, I mean, it's like, this is no joke of a project, right? This project will probably be around for the foreseeable future. It's certainly no shitcoin. It's no meme coin. This stuff is here to solve real world issues. So absolutely. I think that's why it has such a high place up on the totem pole. And I do think, down the line, and we're going to be talking about many different projects in this crypto series, but I do think other projects will end up doing very similar things to Luna, right? Breaking into that top 10 and then staying there and maintaining price action around those levels. But yeah, really impressive moves by Terra.
Absolutely.
Luna, whatever.
And it was first brought to me actually by the Nano community, funny enough. And after I started doing some digging and you told me about it, I actually started to like Luna a little bit more due to my background in foreign exchange, because of the fact that Terra actually focuses on a really interesting issue of price stability. So when I was reading through the white paper, and like Austin said, I highly recommend you guys check it out. We definitely cannot cover everything that we want to cover about Luna in this video, but essentially it tried to solve the problem that every other crypto tries to solve, which is the issues that are inherent with Bitcoin. So one of the issues was price stability, and the way that Terra goes about that is, I would prefer to actually just read it to you guys, because I think that they do a very good way of summarizing it. But when coin price has deviated from the target, the system, being the Terra Luna protocol, needs a way to apply pressures to the market to bring price back to the target. And this protocol adjusts the supply of Terra in response to changes in demand to keep its price stable. This is achieved using Luna, which we'll go into a second, and the 13 mining token, whose stable rewards are designed to absorb volatility from changing economic cycles. So Austin, could you quickly describe to us the difference between Terra and Luna?
Yes. So essentially the Terra protocol is that runs off of algorithmic stablecoins. Okay, that's a lot, and I know maybe you guys don't understand that, but essentially in the Terra Luna world, right, there's Terra, which essentially keeps track and manages these stablecoins. I believe you said there's 15 of them, and they're all pegged to different fiat currencies around the world, right? And then these all get managed by the different factors in the protocol of Terra. And then you have Luna, which is like the actual investment vehicle that people want to make money on. This is the native staking token that absorbs the price volatility of Terra, right? Really, I definitely encourage people to go and check out their website, read the white paper, but that's essentially what it is, right? You have Luna, which is the token that, or coin, I believe it's a token. It's the token that everybody's investing into to make money. And then Terra is essentially the protocol that it runs on that is also catering to all these stable coins, using algorithmic stable coins. If you want to know more about that, I definitely suggest doing your own research. But yeah, that's essentially the difference between Terra and Luna.
Awesome. And yeah, like you said, there are 13, I believe, different tokens right now.
I thought it was 15. I don't know. We're all over the place, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. But there is a stablecoin that everybody should be familiar with, the UST, which is the US stablecoin for Terra. And then they have many others spanning into the euro, the yen, the Korean won, as well as the Japanese yen and the Chinese yuan. So lots of different choices here when it comes to the Luna ecosystem.
I also want to say one thing that I found super interesting about Terra, is its ability to be so it can move around a lot, right? If you guys don't know, Terra was actually built on Cosmos, and Cosmos is a blockchain that can be really connected to any blockchain, and it's very free moving, right? It's not constricted in its one little world. It's built on in Cosmos, and their native token is Atom. If you don't know, and I found that to be super, super interesting in how stuff is being built off one another within cryptocurrency. Definitely check. That's another coin we could do a video off of. It's Cosmos. I think that's another really interesting one. But yeah, I mean, we can go in. I can share my screen here. We can start talking about price.
I think it's time to look at the charts.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead here. Sweet. So now we're back here, guys, looking at the price. This is, the stuff that you guys want, the juice, the guts of everything, right? People care about the protocol, but essentially, if you're watching this video, you want to perhaps utilize Luna or whatever coin we're talking about as a potential consideration for an investment, right? And that's what the true draw to cryptocurrency is, especially to the retail investors, right? So we're going over here to Luna, which is the native token of Terra, and this is its price action from its ICO back in 2019. I believe this is all the data. If it's not, then there would be another chart to look at here on TradingView. But typically, what we have here, Luna US dollar calculated by TradingView is the best chart you're going to find, and it's going to give you the most data. So if you're on TradingView, definitely go look for this one. You'll be able to get the same chart that I'm looking at here. And we can see that Luna actually had a very rough, beginning, start to its life. It actually, at its ICO, it did considerably, and then it was range bound for many, many months until it started picking back up right after COVID. And when we saw Bitcoin run, we saw this big rebound in equities in the stock market, in cryptocurrency, everything. Luna ran right on up with it, right from its bottom. I believe the COVID lows to its local top. It actually ran 22,000% before seeing a considerable correction. This considerable correction happened in May of 2021, which is not that long ago at all. Where it found itself back down to around $3 to $5, and it hovered in that $3 to $5 range for a very, very long time. And this was perhaps the last time that investors really had to get in at a very, very good price. From there, we saw price absolutely skyrocket. From that low of around 369, the price move another 3,000% to the upside, seeing all-time highs at around $121. So I mean, Logan, I don't know if you want to talk about the price a little bit. I mean, this thing has a crazy, crazy chart. From the lows, right? If you bought the COVID low and then held all the way to the top, you made over 100,000% return on your investment. I mean, where else are you getting returns like that? I think that's absolutely mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling, and I know that if you bought it at ICO and held it until right now, you'd be up around 7,000%, which is not 116,000%, but it is still definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think that is an insane return in what is that? A little bit over a year.
That's a trade of a lifetime. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And the thing that is interesting about Luna is I definitely think there's a lot of upside in this coin. With that being said, and with the uncertainty that we're seeing right now in the macro landscape, I think it's possible that we do see a correction on Luna, which is not, I really don't see that being too irregular, considering the fact that a lot of people right now are calling for a crypto correction maybe, should, SPY and the rest of the market continue to trend lower. But with that being said, we obviously have to acknowledge both sides. While Luna may be due for a correction, long term, like we were saying earlier, this is absolutely a project that will be around, in our opinion. And it does look like even before we do get this correction, we will still be able to see maybe another 100% move out of this coin rather easily, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this thing starts to absorb more of the the stable coin world and people end up using this protocol more, I mean, this thing could absorb a lot of value, right? As this market as this market grows, I could see this thing maybe going on to have $100 billion market cap or even higher than that. So I do think that the ceiling is not met for Luna. I think that we can absolutely go higher. But in the short term, could we see all-time highs? I mean, it's possible. But the landscape right now around all marketplaces in the world is looking a little bit shaky, both with all the stuff going on, both with interest rates in America, with US dollars, growth being questionable, and then you have a bunch of stuff going on over in Eastern Europe, all the stuff's going on. So all markets in general are a little shaky right now. So I wouldn't be looking for all-time highs, tomorrow, but this thing does look very good. This thing ran up to, upwards of $20, $50, $100, and it's more or less maintaining price action up there. As we can see, I actually drew a nice little ending diagonal, or a possible ending diagonal here, which we have been following quite nicely. So, I mean, if we were to go back up to touch the top of this triangle pattern here, this consolidation, then we could see upwards of a $200 Luna. I think that's very much possible. But if we do break down, then we could see some much lower prices in the short to mid term. So yeah, Logan, what are your thoughts behind the price action that we're seeing in front of us? This macro landscape's fairly interesting. What do you think the future of Luna, the price action, could hold for us?
Yeah, and I really love what you just said, because even other coins are coming down a lot recently. Luna's been able to hold up exceptionally well, honestly. Even from its all-time highs, if you'd be able to measure that for us, it does not seem like it's down all that much. And it seemed like it was at its all-time highs relatively recently, the beginning of April. So in comparison to the rest of the market, Luna's holding up exceptionally well. And if we could see that continue, perhaps even if the rest of the market trends lower, maybe Luna just has some more steam in it to go. Maybe it doesn't have to follow the rest of the market. Our assumptions so far were based if it does, like most things do, but of course some things do tend to diverge away from general market sentiment, and Luna has undoubtedly been doing that so far. So Definitely. It'll be interesting to see if we do continue that trend or not. But that being said, like you said, that wedge, that upward trending wedge, possible ending diagonal, is definitely something to keep an eye on. The upwards resistance of that level around $160 to I believe it was
depending on how you draw it and when we see it. Yeah. There's a few
anywhere from 180 to around $260 is where I would put it. Anywhere around that level is definitely resistance to look out for. But yes, I think Luna's been performing exceptionally well, and I think that it will continue to do so, whether or not we see a correction in the near future. But yeah, absolutely. And I know if you actually go over to Coin Exams, Luna is on the list, as we were just comparing our last crypto project, Phantom, actually.
Absolutely. So if you guys don't know what this is coinexams.com, and essentially what this does is showcase the utility on a 1 to 10 scale, or score scale, of a cryptocurrency project, right? And this is measured by the fees, the delay, the transactions per second, available supply, the inflation or the coin issuance, the staking, does it have smart contracts, does it have sovereign wallets, all this stuff. What are the nodes? How decentralized is it? When did it start? It measures all this stuff and comes to a score about what's the utility of this project and how feasible is it to be used in the real world, essentially. You can see right here, this is our top 10. I believe Luna right now currently is number 12 on the list, scores a 7.25 out of 10, so it does fairly well. The only thing that really kind of shoots down Luna's score in this measurement is its supply, right? Unfortunately, the supply is infinite. They can print as much Luna as they want, right? That's never a good thing. We see, well, it could be considered a good thing depending on how you view it, but people don't typically like inflation. I mean, go look at the US dollar. They can print as much as that as they want, and they tend to have problems with that from time to time. So that's why that is a little red box here. Oops, a little red box here for Luna. They also have fairly slow transaction speeds. So those are the two faults for Luna according to Coin Exams. But as of right now, it does stand pretty high on the list, right? When considering all these other projects. So, I would say that, it's doing quite well for itself. When we go up to the future here, and this is, again, I don't know how they're kind of basing the future stuff. I think they're basing it by expectations. but we could see Luna, I believe, does go down a bit, right? And that's also because they're, of that supply, that infinite supply, that's really going to be holding them back, and then transactions per second. It's not that Luna is going to be changing a lot. It's that other projects are going to be getting better over time, right? More decentralized, more of their total supply is going to be out into circulation, right? So other projects are going to perhaps go higher up on the list, which will force Luna lower. But you can see that Luna is remaining fairly consistent in its numbers, and it's still holding a relatively good spot on the list for the future outlook, at least to coin exams. So I love I love Terra from or Luna, right? Same difference. I like the overall project from both the utility perspective and an investment perspective. I think the chart looks great. I think that higher prices could be seen, right? If I do an extension from the 24 level to our low back in May, right? I mean, I get the 2.272 and a 2.618 upwards of $500. I mean, is that possible? I don't know, but this thing definitely can move, especially if we get a strong, more people start to use the protocol and more money starts to be absorbed by the overall ecosystem itself. So yeah. I do think that this thing can grow more, but keep in mind, is Luna going to provide you like 100x from here? Probably not. It has a $33 billion market cap. So, for you to really start getting multiples of your investment back, right? We would need to see this thing push, upwards of $100 billion market cap, $200 billion market cap, which is not easy to do. So I do think that the best days are behind it when it comes to investments, right? The best time to buy Luna would have been at $5, at 40 cents, at 30 cents, at 20 cents. I'm not sure how good of a bargain you're going to be getting at $94. Logan, how do you feel? And we can kind of wrap stuff up here. Would you consider Luna a good investment right now?
I would consider Luna a safer investment, but no, I do not think that it's going to be, like you said, a very high returning investment comparatively to other cryptos. Obviously, anybody should be happy with a 100% move, but right. When we're comparing it to the potential reward and gain on other cryptos, I do not think that Luna has the highest potential upside comparatively, but that is again just due to its market cap. So in 10 years, will Luna perhaps be upwards of $1,000? Absolutely. While the market continues to grow, so will Luna's market cap. The price will appreciate over time, but in the short term, I don't think it has that very high risk-to-reward ratio. If you don't mind going back to coinexams.com, there was a couple of interesting things I noted. And,
sure.
While we were, if you don't mind going back to current times rather than, okay.
I'm on current right now.
So it's worth noting that although it has low transaction speeds, Luna isn't meant to be digital cash. That's not what it's meant to do. It's completely fine. And the fact, and I'm going to throw shade right now. I'm going to stir the pot a little bit. Instead of just holding up a potentially fraudulent organization like Tether, Luna has it's an actual process of price stability, which is why it has that infinite supply and why it has a negative inflation of 78%. I was looking at that and I was confused for a second. But then I reminded myself of how this program really works, how the platform works, and it makes total sense. That's how it's achieving price stability. So the two things that it's being weighted against aren't even necessarily for this program. It's a completely separate entity. I think it should be viewed objectively, and I like Luna.
And I love that you brought that up. That's kind of the flaw in coin exams, because it's like looking at Nano. It flaws Nano for not having smart contracts.
But it's not meant to.
It's like, well, it's not meant to have smart contracts, right? So it's essentially, we could argue that Nano should be number one on the list right now if we're going to consider it from that. Right. So we could argue, right? We could bring this conversation back to Luna, that Luna should be much higher on the list because it's being flawed for stuff that doesn't necessarily pertain to the overall, objective, I suppose, of the protocol, right? Really interesting. I love Luna. I think it's a great project. I think it will be around for the long term. I think that's something very, very important to consider. But as of right now, it might be a little of a higher price. I think that Luna could, come back down to some lower prices and we could get a better bargain in the future. But if you are looking to make an investment here in the short term, there's nothing wrong with dollar cost averaging in to a project like Luna, buying some here, buying some there, trying to get that average price as low as possible. And I think you'll be well on your way to, having a decent investment. And I do agree with what you said, Logan. I do think that Luna, 10 years from now could easily be trading at $1,000 a coin. I think that's totally possible. So
awesome. Yeah. Austin, thank you so much, my friend.
Sir. We'll be back for the next video here soon.
We will. Awesome. See you guys in the next video.